Welcome to the wide open waters of the Sturtby Lake near Bedford, where we have a weekend with a difference as the Powerboat GP competitors battle it out in a one-off event to decide the title of British Sprint Champion. But for the F2 races who've been so spectacular all year, it's a weekend of double importance, as having not raced in Tamworth, this weekend also counts for their British Championship title. Mark, it's a bit tricky this weekend because you need points for the British Championship, but you'd love the sprint title as well. How are you going to play it?
Well, the conditions are quite tricky, but we'll, as you say, I need the points for the championship, so I really need to think about the championship. But it would be nice to come home with the sprint championship as well. But
the British one is the one you really want the most?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I've not had a very good season so far, so hopefully, I'm hoping we've got rid of all the little gremlins and we have a good weekend this weekend.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Colin, you've been 3 times World Formula 2 champion. You've been retiring a bit to look after your son's racing, but now you've returned for this weekend's Sprint Championship. Are you going to be able to sort out these youngsters like Malcolm?
Well, I'm not sure. Obviously, things move along a lot when you're away. Hopefully, we've got still a good setup, so we can come out and give him a good run for the money. I know I've got the older style engine, which will start better than Malcolm, but they've probably got 10 mile an hour at the end of the straight on me.
Then there's a brother involved as well you've got to beat.
Yes, yeah, I mean, that's the main rivalry, to be honest. You never want your brother to beat you, and he's definitely out to beat me. So he's also got the faster engine, so that'd be my excuse.
Always get them in early. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Owen Jelf, the other half of the Jelf brothers. You've been away doing the World Series this year. You're going a little weekend off to sort out this little sprint title, are you?
Well, I wouldn't call it that. I mean, the British Sprint Championship always is a competitive race, right? So, because of the clashes with the World Series, I haven't been able to do all the national championship. But I always look forward to this weekend. And I've won before, but I don't always win. And there's a lot of very competitive boats out there. So, you know, my brother's very quick. Paul Balfour's very quick. Malcolm Goodman's very quick. So, this I think is going to be a competitive race. Looking forward to it.
But none of the new faces could do anything about Malcolm Goodman, who set a blistering pace to take pole position nearly 2 seconds faster than the rest of the field, who were led by very impressive Ian Wright, with the next 5 boats covered by just 0.3 of a second. Having dominated qualifying, one gets the feeling that if Malcolm Goodman can get to that first turn first, the race will be his. But with dead engine starts, that's never as easy as it sounds. As they wait for the red lights. Red lights are on. In money, 4, 3. How many seconds will it be for the lights go off? Now.
With the biggest fleet of Formula 2s we've seen in 2012. Here we go. This is the start, and already it's looking very busy out there. Malcolm Goodman setting off in pole position as they head off into the first turn. Always the tricky one to get everybody around the first turn safely. A lot of boats going in, and we do get round safely. And we're on board now with Paul Balfour in boat number 29, done very well at the last national round. And now we head back down the racecourse. Owen Jelf, it's his first race back in the UK for some time, and he's, in fact, the last time he raced here was involved in a collision with Paul Balfour, and it was at this point, but he makes it safely round. So Malcolm Goodman then is the leader, with Paul Balfour in second position, and that's Colin Jelf now, and we ride on board with Colin Jelf pushing Paul Balfour. And he gives him plenty of space, and it's Colin Jelf's return back to Formula 2, a 3 times world champion. And he's still got it, in my opinion, but here we go then. Ian Andrews is still chasing hard, and now we're on board with Owen Jelf, who is pushing the ex-Formula 3 world champion. Owen Jelf has got Scott Curtis just on the inside of him, and Scott Curtis, and we're on board with him at the moment. It's his first time in a Formula 2, and it's been very much anticipated how well Scott Curtis can do in Formula 2. An excellent Formula 4 driver, a previous world champion in Formula 4, and at the moment he's showing Owen Jelf the experienced, in fact one of the most experienced Formula 2 drivers out there, the way around this Sturtby Lake here for the British Sprint Championships. Of course, all these points are added up at the end of the season for the outright Formula 2 Championship. But back on board then with Owen Jelf, and he won't be happy that that he's got Scott Curtis, who has passed him. And now we ride on board with Andy Griffiths. Andy has been around Formula 2 for quite some time, and this year and last year have got progressively more aggressive, but now we are back with the race leader, and this man has had a lot of dramas over the season. But Paul Balfour and Jelf continuing to fight it out between themselves, with Paul Balfour with the SST 120 Mercury engine on the back of his boat. And remember that some of these are powered by the 2.5 litre Optimax Mercury engines, and that's one of them. Ian Wright in boat number 98. And ride on board now with Ian Wright, and that's the side view. And you can see exactly how tight he takes the turn boys here. Alan Marshall in number 34 then, coming up to try and pass 41. Andy Griffiths and Ian Wright there, a good little scrap in fact going on. Griffiths holding his own, but he will see the other red boat in this race full in his mirrors, and Marshall then, and a good shot there. Marshall on the inside, Ian Wright in 98 on the outside, and really it's the filling in the sandwich, which is Andy Griffiths, who now gets left behind. So the other two are up and gone, but look at the power of the Optimax now as we head down towards the right-hander. And everyone's safely through. Sven Hammer then, he brings to this event a different boat. He crashed out of the last Grand Prix, which was in Carmel. So he is driving this weekend in an Italian designed boat. There's a DAC, all composite boat. I'm finding it a very different drive, in fact, from his previous boat. So there is the race leader, Malcolm Goodman, in number 1. On board with him, that's the rear view. And that's the rooster tail that everyone will be following as we go round the right-hander with Goodman, as he now starts to catch up with back markers. A little bit of traffic just ahead. And Paul Balfour also in with the back markers, and he's just got Andy Griffiths then just ahead of him. Andy Griffiths actually realises now that his boat isn't quite as competitive as what he thought. And Paul Balfour then coming up to lap Andy Griffiths. So Malcolm Goodman then, round the pit turn, back down the straights, and once again on board with Goodman. Just listening to the sound of the Mercury engine as the checkered flag is waved, and Malcolm Goodman takes the win for heat number 1. And there's confirmation of the results then. Malcolm Goodman wins heat 1 with Paul Balfour second, Colin Jelf on his return to F2 in 3rd position. A great drive.
At long last, things actually went to plan.
Yeah, the boat's been away to get the engine sorted. Felt good yesterday qualifying, and it went well today.
Oh, a tremendous battle for 4th. You lived in the spray for the whole race. Getting past isn't easy, is it?
It's not easy on this circuit, no, and at least I've had a bath, right, and a shower, so my mum would be happy, but...
A couple of times right down towards the penultimate corner, you were virtually inside him. Then when you get hosed down, you suddenly lose about 5 or 6 lengths. Is that just because you can't see?
It's partly you can't see. It means that if you can't see, you don't want to take a chance, basically. We'll see next heat. I mean, it was good racing out there. I enjoyed it.
With the Sprint Championship to be decided over just one weekend, there are no second chances. And that's something that the Junior Championship leader, Ben Jelf, is all too familiar with, having just returned from a 2-week, 3,000-mile trip to contest both the European and World Championships. Ben, you had to go all the way to Estonia to contest the European Championship. How did that one go?
Well, it was a perfect race. We got a two firsts, 5th and a 3rd.
Where did that get you?
That got me 1st place, so I got the European Championship back.
But then you went to Sweden, bit harder. 21 boats turned up, and you didn't have a very good qualifying time for the Worlds.
No, we got 13th, but we had not a very good prop, and then in the next few races we got a better prop.
So where did you end up? How many results did you get in the 4 there? Well, 9th in the first heat, then where else did you finish?
Then we got 3rd, then we got a 2nd, and then in the last race we got a 1st.
That wasn't enough to claim the world title.
No, we got runner-up instead.
But we're still, Britain's still very proud of you. An Olympic year, you're European champion and world runner-up. Tegan, you're lying second in the junior championship, but now this weekend, it's a sprint championship. You can win a title today.
Yeah, I know.
And do you think you can?
Yeah, I think I can.
But qualifying didn't go that well, did it?
No, it didn't.
How about when you qualify, is it a problem getting to the turn, boy? Is it a big disadvantage to be 5th on the grid?
No, because you're not actually, it's not the racing. It's the racing that's more important than the qualifying.
But this Ben Jelf boy, nobody's beaten him this year. You're going to beat him this weekend?
Hopefully.
Thomas, it's hard work, isn't it, this powerboat racing? What, your dad prepares the boat, your mum does all the cooking at the weekend, and you just, what, clean your crash helmet and play on your bikes?
Yeah, I let me and my dad sort the boat side of things, and my mum sort of cleans my overalls and gets my clothes sorted out for me.
Well, now you're having a good year in the British Championship, nearly into second place now, catching up the leaders, but this weekend it's a sprint title to be won. Can you sort this Jelf boy out?
Well, I think if we can just adjust the engine height or trim it out or trim it in slightly, maybe do something different to the propellers, try a different prop. I don't know really, it's all trial and error, but I've got a little plan, so if it all goes well, I could always go to plan B.
He's got a plan, team, and if he hasn't got plan 1, plan B is there as well. Good luck, Thomas.
With 3 heats to decide the GT15 junior class, it was about Ben Jelf who secured the pole position, and in heat 1 was driving an excellent race out in front. He was being chased though by some strong female contenders. One of them was this lady driver, Tegan Goodfellow. Also Thomas Mantrip in number 12, Jess Stoneman and Jessica Beaumont all fighting. But a problem happened for young Tegan and she failed to win the race. However, Ben Jelf was to make it his first win of the weekend. In heat 2, Ben Jelf starts in pole position, gets to the turn first, and is chased this time by the other young lady in the race, Charlotte Newton. Charlotte was going to try and push Ben right to the end and try to get past him. In the meantime, Bev Stoneman, his teammate, was making sure that she defended the opposition off. So Ben Jelf takes 2 out of 2. Heat 3 then, and Ben Jelf was up for the hat-trick to determine if he was going to be the British Sprint Champion. Thomas Mantrip didn't have such a great weekend, struggling in the 3rd heat. Charlotte Newton was there in the mix of things, but Ben Jelf did make it 3 out of 3.
Well, that's the Junior Sprint Champion crown. Make sure you join us after the break when 6 more sprint titles are to be claimed.